Golly, that's good.
I cracked myself up. I still haven't found my first Blantons. That's different. I really like that.
They're like together, like peas and carrots.
That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. This is not what I expected. How's it going? It's Monday, and we decided to go ahead and get this out of the way. I got a busy week coming up. All my days and nights are going to be filled, so, and tonight is no different. I've got an event coming up at 8 o'clock that I've got to be at. So it's here, so I'm not driving and going anywhere, but suffice it to say that this is going to be the night. And for those of you that don't catch it live, that's fine. It'll be on here, Memorexed. It'll be on YouTube as well. So, I mean, you'll be able to catch it. It's all good. But I wanted to be able to kind of finish up what we did on Thursday, and that was the Wilderness Trail. Now, we started off with the single barrel. And the single barrel, it had some nice presence on the tip of my tongue, and it had some nice presence on the finish, but in the mid-palate, it tended to feel a little bit like a rye, and that it was a little bit on the grassy side, a little strange, just a little bizarre. Could be the barrel it's in. It's a single barrel, so all the different single barrels could have different expressions. You don't know, I mean, until you've tried several different ones. We did, I've said this many times, I'll say it again, we did a tasting of all the Henry McKenna's from 2021. There were 6 of them, and they were all different. Some had a great palate, but no finish. Others had okay palate, but a great finish. Some of them were spicy, some of them were musty. So, and it's the same product, just different barrels, right? So, in different times of the year. And all that makes a difference as far as what a single barrel will do. So, last week we wrapped up with me tasting the small batch, and I didn't tell you what I thought of it. But in order to give you a good sense of how I really felt about the two back-to-back, I'm going to actually start with the single barrel again. There we go. I'm going to use my special Troopers glass that I got from the Kentucky State Troopers. Did a little work with them this year, as I have for the last, 4 or 5 years. And this is a little piece of swag they sent me. So I just, we'll give them a little tribute and put the single barrel in here. Oop. And spill it out of here. Not used to a straight-walled glass anymore. All right. Tom's watching. Hey, Tom. How are you, sir? Welcome. Welcome to the fold. I decided at the last minute to do this. Literally. The last minute. I'm putting everything together, going upstairs and getting my ice sphere, everything. So, all right. So this is the single barrel. Again, that nose is just a really nice nose. Just it's kind of the same as it was last week. Now, this has the benefit of already been cracked. I cracked this last Thursday, and so it's going to have a little bit of that opening up. It's not going to be like way open, like if I had left it a few weeks or a month or 6 months. Although I don't know how much different a month and 6 months makes. But anyway, but it's been open, so this expression could be a little bit different. Still getting really a sweet cinnamon on the nose. Hey, Kevin's watching. How are you, sir? You can barely hear me? Barely hear me. Well, I can turn up the volume and see if that helps. Or see if that's any better. Okay. Still just a little bit of that really nice, I want to say it's like... It's like something baked, like a baked apple pie or a creme brulee or something like that. It's got a really nice nose, even without the use of a Glencairn. All right. Okay, in only a few days' time, it did open up. There's definitely more flavor on the palate, especially mid-palate, than there was on Thursday. It's a lot less grainy. And by grainy, I don't mean like a texture thing. I mean the taste of grains. It's got a sweeter side to it. This is a wheated. This single barrel is wheated. And I believe the small batch is as well. But, yeah, okay. But yeah, so if I'm starting off with this one like I did last Thursday, I'm starting off already in a better position because I think this is much nicer than it was on a fresh crack. Just a few days is all it took to open this up. Yeah, I like this a lot better than I did on Thursday. It's much more rounded. You still wouldn't know that it's 100 proof. Again, all the Wilderness Trail is bottled in bond, all of it. So that's just how they decided to do it, and all of it's 100 proof. They've got a rye. They've got, I wrote them down last Thursday. I didn't do any research on this one at all, but they got the wheated bourbon bottled in bond, the small batch rye bottled in bond, the high rye bourbon bottled in bond, the 6-year bourbon, and the rye private barrel. So this may be actually a rye. This may be a rye. This is a wheated. This is a rye, evidently. I thought they had a different one. I thought they had an actual rye that said rye. They do. They do. This is a... Oh, this says whiskey. This does not say bourbon. This may be a rye. Sean's watching. Hey, Sean, how are you? I hope you're feeling better, Sean. So this is the mash bill on this one. 64% corn, 24% rye, 12% malted barley. So this is a bourbon, and it is a legal bourbon. It is a high rye legal bourbon. So this is not the small batch rye bottled in bond. This is a bourbon. So, and it does not have, it's not the same mash bill as this one. This one's a wheated. Hey, Jeanette is watching. Hey, Jeanette, how are you? This is a wheated, this is a rye. There's no wheat in this one. That explains a lot of why I had a different flavor profile on Thursday when I went through these two, because they were definitely different. This one, the wheated, the single barrel, again, is much better right now than it was on Thursday. Still a little bit of that grain quality on the mid palate, but it has mellowed out a lot. It has opened up a lot. It's like when I added water to it on Thursday. It's just much better. It's just, I could drink this now and enjoy it. Whereas the way it was on Thursday on a fresh crack, no. Okay. So let's do the tasting on the small batch. Joe's watching. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I had to kind of guess. So I left you on a cliffhanger, on Thursday. I had been peer pressured into going ahead and opening this one up and giving it a try in contrast to this one. And I didn't give you the answer. And I'm glad I didn't, because after tasting this one after, 5 days? 4 days, the difference is there. And with now knowing that it's a different mash bill, this is wheat, this is rye, bourbon, it explains a lot about why it's different. And this was a fresh crack on Thursday as well. So now we're going to get through the rest of it. I'm going to do the full gauntlet, give it the tasting. I won't take as long as I did on Thursday. We're going to just get through this. All right. You know, I really ought to cleanse my palate. Hold on. Wish I had some coffee grounds. All right. All right. All right. So let's do the nose first. Again, I did no research on this. I just read the mash bill off the side of the bottle. So God bless them for putting a mash bill on the side of the bottle so I don't look completely in the dark. I like to know that stuff. And again, I didn't know that the week is going to be better if I just do this tonight. All right. Let's turn off that phone call. That's fun. I needed to take that phone call too. I probably should have said, I can't talk right now. That's yeah. Okay, so The nose on the two are actually quite similar. I'm getting a really nice cinnamon. This, if they're using the same barrels for both, it's evident because the cinnamon on this is strong, just like on the single barrel. The nose is so similar. Did I pour the same one twice? No, I didn't. Let me put on my eyeballs and make sure. No, I didn't. Spencer's watching. Hey, Spencer, how are you, sir? Glad you're with us. All of you here, I'm surprised because I just kind of jumped on and at the last second I decided to do this. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for following. Really kind of you. All right. The cinnamons are strong, a little caramel in the background, some vanilla there. There's a slight fruit note. I don't know what it is. It's not dark and it's not super sweet. Last week I said plum on this one, so I'm going to stick with it because I think they're very, very similar in nose. Very, very similar. All right. Okay. That's nice. So, when I tried the two on a fresh crack, the rye-based bourbon, it's a high rye, was heads and tails more flavorful than the single barrel on fresh crack. The heads and shoulders off the bottle, the small batch was definitely better than the single barrel. After letting them both sit, this has opened up, this has as well, and it's amazing the similarities between the two, despite the different mash bill. Again, it's got to be that barrel, right? At least 4 years for bottle and bond. Some of their stuff, they want to go 5 to 6 years on it, but these are probably still 4 years. All right, let's give you some notes here. The bloom, not super strong, but, you know, I'd already had a little bit of this, and then I tried this one. So the bloom, let's see if I can find some. So it just kind of sits, just like it did last week with this one. It hits in a couple of spots and just kind of sits there. It doesn't bloom, doesn't grow. That burn just sits on like the center of your tongue, the end of your tongue, and maybe back towards the back of your tongue. That's it. It doesn't go anywhere. I don't mind that. It's just different. Not wrong, just different. That's a phrase that's good to learn for everyday use. It's not wrong. It's just different. People that have to be right all the time, they're not wrong. Their opinion is just different than yours, right? This is what it means to be an evolved human. Which only happens when you've had a couple drinks. Michael Bauer, Michael from Coachella Valley checking in. How are you, Michael? I got to it before you did. Zach's watching as well. Hey, Zach, how are you? We're pretty busy for a Monday. Is it boring outside or what? It's cold outside is what it is. All right. Coachella Valley checking in almost on time. Almost. You didn't miss much. We're still getting through the flavors of this particular one. This is the Wilderness Trail small batch. This is a rye. It's a high rye, whereas the single barrel from last week is a wheated bourbon. Yeah. So this one is just a very nice pour. It's got some complexity to it, but not too much. It's not going to rival your New Riff single barrel. It's not going to rival your Kentucky Owl or your Old Forester 1920 or your, what's the other one? What was the other one? The New Riff. Did I say that one? Oh, the Smoke Wagon. Small batch. That I thought that was really complex. This is not as complex, but it's complex enough to make me really enjoy it. There's a lot going on in there. There's some nice depth to it. I don't know if you'd call it acidity or whatever, but there's just some really nice depth to this one. I like it better than the single barrel, but after they've been opened, and after they've had a chance to breathe a little bit, I like this marginally better than the single barrel. Single barrel still has a little bit of a grain thing going on, but the small batch is just well-rounded, very nice, and opened up nicely as well. This one has a little bit more of a caramel feel to it. Let's say it together. Or caramel if you have a degree. You can drink. If we're playing the KC drinking game, there you go. That's your opportunity. That and golly, that's good. That's another one. You can hear that. You can drink. Let's see. What's some more? What's some more? There's got to be more. There's got to be more catchphrases. We call them crutches. When I was doing radio, those catchphrases are crutches. And they don't have to be just catchphrases. Like if you hear a DJ come on the radio and they're doing what we call double timing. So if they come on and it's like, it's 7:18, 18 minutes after 7, that's called double timing. And they do that because it's a crutch. It's a way to fill time without saying anything. Kind of like a politician. They fill a lot of time without saying anything of substance. Most of them. But that's called double timing, and they do that on radio. 7:18, 18 minutes after 7, and it's go to the weather, foggy, rainy, make sure your kids take their galoshes to the bus stop type of thing. Although nowadays, moms and dads, especially moms that I've seen, just drive their kids to the bus stop and they just sit there in their car. I don't blame you. In this day and age, I don't blame you. All right. So we're going to put this on water. Chuck is watching. Hey, Chuck. Larry's here. Hey. Wow, we got quite a crowd here tonight. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. So, Wilderness Trail, I guess this is Wilderness Trail Part 2. Help him, he spoke French. Single barrel on Thursday, small batch today. Sorry for no notice, I just had to do it. I had to get into it. It's going to be a bit busy week, so we're going to end the cliffhanger. So far, opened up, and after sitting for a few days, they're really similar. The single barrel is a wheated bourbon. This is a high rye bourbon. It's a little bit tough to tell the difference after they've been sitting for a little while, because this one opened up, and this one was good from the start. I liked this one better than this one from the start, and I still do. But now with a little water on it. Brought down the flavors just a little bit, brought up the proof a little bit. I finally got some burn, some bloom happening in the center of my tongue and just moving a little bit. But it did knock down, I didn't add that much water to it. It did knock down the flavor some. It did add to the mouthfeel. So if you like a nice buttery mouthfeel, the water on the single barrel was really nice. That worked out very, very well. This one, it's good. If you like that improved mouthfeel, I'm not sure this one needed it, but it is a little bit more buttery. But you sacrifice the flavor when you add the water to it. Sometimes you just got to go down the hatch. All right, let's move on in. See what the small batch is like over ice. Ah, that's another catchphrase. A gorgeous ice sphere. Judge for yourself if that's Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek or Sean Connery. Sean Connery, a gorgeous ice sphere. Or John Luke, a gorgeous ice sphere. I guess one's a little harder than the other. Sean Connery had a tendency to be kind of mushy in his talking. His schedule. He didn't say schedule, he's a schedule. I know it probably means very little to you. But as somebody who has spent a large part of their life doing character voices and accents and things in productions and radio commercials and all that kind of stuff, I have to notice little things like that. How Sean Connery tends to be a little bit more slushy in what he says, whereas Jean-Luc Picard is a little bit more tight. But he's Shakespearean. Although I don't know if Sean Connery studied Shakespeare or not. And if you go back and you watch, like, say you watch Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan, you'd notice that Leonard Nimoy's voice is much different in that movie than it is later on when he did The Undiscovered Country. Age, COPD, little things, little things. I can imagine what I'm going to be like 10, 15 years from now. Go back and listen to some of my tapes from when I was on the radio. And the difference in my voice, I bet I could do it today. The difference in my voice from today, from back then. I left radio in 2003. It's been 20 years since I cracked the mic on a regular basis. Wow. I've been out of radio longer than I was ever in it. And that was a full-ass career. I still do it daily. I do, not radio per se, but I do voiceovers and all sorts of different things. So I stay busy. I keep the chops rocking. I can still do the puker voice too. Puker! Puke! That's what we called people that did that. And there were plenty. There were plenty. All right. As happens often, some of the earthier notes came out on ice. Tobacco, it's still some sweetness. There's still some nice sweetness in it. A lot of the flavor dissipated. Kind of the same as on water. But there's still some sweetness there. What is that? I think that's that fruit side of it. The caramel is still there too. Cinnamon kind of went away, but the caramel's still there. Yeah. So of the two, I would tell you that that of the two, the small batch would be one that would be what you might consider a little bit more traditional, as far as flavors, as far as the way it feels, compared to other pours. If you're looking for a nice pour that's average, you know, and I don't mean average as like a grade, like a C from F to A. It's not a C. I'd give it a good solid B. But if you're looking for an average pour that has average flavors, that is something that you can go to and like it compared to this, and this that you like, then I would tell you that the small batch is the way to go. If you like weeded bourbons, you're going to get the single barrel, but you're going to leave it open. You're going to open it, you're going to pour it, take a sip, not like it, and then let it sit. Let it open up, let it mellow out, and then you're probably going to get better flavors out of it. It still tends to be a little bit heavy on the grain side of things. Not nearly as well-rounded as like a Weller Special Reserve. The Wellers are those are unusual weededs. There's really nothing that compares to a Weller. Green River weeded, close to a 107. But then again, there's other weededs that there's no comparison as well, like Maker's Mark. You know, the Maker's Mark, original Maker's Mark, there's really no comparison to that. If you like it, you like it, and you don't like anything else. But if you like the Maker's 46, now you've got that French stave in there. Now you're starting to add different flavors to it, and it tends to seem similar to other bourbon pours that you're used to. So I tried Maker's for the first time. I didn't enjoy it. Then I was handed a Maker's 46. I didn't want to try it because I didn't like the first one. And they said, no, trust me. So I tried the Maker's 46, and indeed, the addition of the French oak staves did make a difference. So if you're on the fence about Maker's, try the 46. And if you're on the fence about that, try the cask strength 46. Oh, yeah. All right, so this was good. This was good. I'm glad we did this, and I'm glad we did it tonight because I got a busy week, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to get back to it. So I do appreciate everybody coming tonight. Boy, we had a full house, and still do, and it's just really neat to have you all here, and I really appreciate it. Would you believe it? I forgot to look at what I'm doing next week? Tell you what, we'll just find out real quick because I don't want to leave you hanging. That's not nice. I can find out here real fast. Give me just a second. Put it in, and it's in, and then whatever, and I can't find it. Let's go back here. There we go. Okay, so I've got my database online. How geeky am I? Open that. Okay, so get up here. Wilderness Trail. All right, so, oh! No, that can't be right. I think it is right. Okay, so it looks like our next meeting together is going to be on Thanksgiving evening. Is that right? Really? That's the 23rd. Thanksgiving is on the 23rd. 20, that's 10 to 8. Yeah! All right, so next time we meet will be on Thanksgiving evening, the 23rd. I hope you've got time to come alongside, but what we're going to do is we're going to give homage to Thanksgiving. And, excuse me, I want to make sure I read this right so I don't get it wrong. Drinksgiving 2023. I'm going to do something I should have done for the last 2 years and didn't. It's Turkey Day. We're going to do wild turkey. We're going to do both the Wild Turkey 101 Bourbon, which amazingly I've never reviewed on this show, and the Wild Turkey 101 Rye, which I've never even opened. So that's going to be on Thanksgiving night, 7 o'clock, right here on Beautiful Bourbon. And I will tell you, I am stoked. I have not had the Wild Turkey Rye, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we will see you on Drinksgiving at 7 o'clock for Wild Turkey 101, both the bourbon and the rye right here on Beautiful Bourbon. And we will see you then. Have a safe week, and thank you for watching.